Alrighty, good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? I'm Coach Aguilar, and today we're going to be going over how to properly shoot a basketball. We're going to be going over the steps needed to follow and what general movements we need to do. So we're going to start out with the main points. We're going to be going over your feet placement. We're going to be going over the rhythm you want to get into when you're shooting your shot, the rhythm of your feet. It's a 1-2 step. We're also going to be going over what area on your foot you actually want to be shooting off of. And then we're going to move on to your knees, your hips, your hand placement on the basketball. We're going to go over your elbow and your shoulder alignment. And then lastly, we're going to be going over the shot pocket and the follow through of the actual finishing of the shot. So to start out with, we're going to start out with your feet placement. You generally want your feet to be about, you'd say, shoulder width apart. And it applies a good stable balance of weight and everything. And what I was taught when I was younger is my coaches would have us jump straight up, and where we land is usually generally where we feel most comfortable, most stable, because when you land, you're not going to really land like this, and you're not going to land with your feet really far apart. You generally land in the width that you feel most comfortable. So I would have my students do that, and when they were trying to figure out how far they would want their feet to be apart. So I usually have my feet about shoulder width apart. This is where I feel most stable. And again, you're shooting your shot, a lot of people have a different, they're not sure which way you're supposed to face your toes, but it's just a thing that is most comfortable to you, where you feel most comfortable. For my own preference, I actually like to have my feet at a 45-degree angle to the left of my body, just because it helps me to be able to line up my hips, my shoulders, and my elbow with the basket. It's my preference, and it's really what you feel most comfortable with. You can have your feet facing straight forward at the actual basket, or you can have them a little bit to the right, or if you're left-handed, even to the a little bit to the left, or if you're left-handed, even to the right. So again, it's your preference, what you feel most comfortable. And then there's a rhythm when you're shooting. It's called a 1-2 step, and if you're right-handed, it's going to go left-right, and usually your right foot will end up slightly ahead of your left foot. But if you're left-handed, you're going to go right-left. That'll be your movement. So when you're moving into that movement, you are catching the basketball, and you're going left-right, shot. And if you're left-handed, you're going to be catching the basketball, you're going right-left, shot. So it depends which side you shoot with, but now you know the 1-step, 2-step. So whenever you're going to be catching the basketball, you're going to catch it, 1-2 step, okay? 1-2. And that'll help you to be able to get the shot off and to be able to release. So we're going to move on to where you actually want to be shooting off, what part of your foot. So you want it to be on the balls of your feet, so you want to have a little bit of bounce in there. So you don't want to be shooting flat-footed, because shooting flat-footed with your feet just straight flat on the floor, it could mess up your arc and the control of the shot. So you want to have a little bit, you want to be on the balls of your feet, a little bit up. And now we're going to move on to the knees, your knees. So you want your knees slightly bent, and you don't want them straight, or you don't want them too bent, you want them slightly bent. And with your hips, you want your hips down, you don't want them too far down, you don't want to be standing straight up. So you want them slightly bent, to have a little bit of bounce in there. And then we're going to be moving on to hand placement on the basketball. So your hand placement on the basketball, what I like to do is I like to split right here with the air pocket. I like to split my hand on the air pocket. It helps me be able to line it up, and you want your hand to be generally in the middle of the basketball. You don't want it to be like to the right or to the left or anything like that. You generally end up wanting to have it in the middle. And you want to have your fingers a good width apart. You don't want them too close. It could mess up the rhythm and the control of the basketball. You want them pretty spread apart. And where you want the actual basketball to be placed on your fingers, you want it to be on your finger pads. So you don't ever want to be shooting with your hand just flat on the basketball, because it makes it very hard to get the spin and the actual follow through correct. So you want it to be on the pads of your hand, and you generally should have about a little pocket right here, a little gap to where you can put your fingers through, and that's how you'll know that it's pretty good placement. So that's about the placement of the basketball. And I generally, you have a support hand, a guide hand, And that, when you catch the ball, you catch it with both hands, your hands in the middle, and then when you're going up to shoot, you have this hand to guide. This hand's a guide only. You don't use it to push off the basketball. You just have it there for stability and guidance of the shot. Alrighty. So next we'll be moving on to the elbow. And your elbow is, again, it has a lot to do with where your hand placement is on the ball, because if your hand is to the right, you're going to have your elbow and it's going to be out. But if your hand placement is in the middle, you'll have to shoot up and your elbow is pretty straight. You want to form kind of like an L or a C, and that's very good. You don't want it too far out like this, or you don't want it too far in, because it could mess up the your actual follow through, and it could mess up the direction and accuracy of your shot. So once you have your elbow about straight, you're gonna be moving into the shot pocket, and the shot pocket is where you will generally start the movement of your shot. So your shot pocket, when you catch the ball, you gear up, and your shot pocket is usually about right here. You don't want it too far up, you don't want it down here. It's usually, when you catch it, it's about right here. That's where you're gonna start your general hand actual movement of your follow through and your release. So you get it in the shot pocket, and when you're releasing, you generally release the basketball when your elbow is about above your eye level. So whenever you catch it, you're catching it and you're releasing, because it's about right above the elbow, right above your eye level. And on the release of the actual basketball, your last two fingers that'll be touching are these two. So you have the palm, you have it in your finger pads, and when you're going up for the shot, you're usually releasing, and when you're releasing, these are the last two fingers that are coming off. And you want these fingers, when they're coming off, you want them to be going as straight down as possible, because if they're going to the right or to the left too much, it could alter the direction and the accuracy of your shot. So when you get it into the shot pocket, you're coming up and you're releasing and your elbow is about a little bit above your eye level. And when you're releasing, you want it to go as far straight. My coach would always say, like, put your hand in the cookie jar. That'll help you to be able to keep your hand as straight as possible. So on the release, you're coming straight up, but you're not pushing your shoulder or your elbow out. Your elbow and your shoulder are going straight up as possible, but where you're gonna get the push off is gonna be from your forearm and your wrist. So whenever you're gonna shoot, you want it to go straight, and then where you're pushing off is from your forearm and your wrist. And that'll help you to be able to get an arc and the distance. So when you put it all together, you have your feet placement, general 45-degree angle for myself, and then when you're coming into the shot, you get your catch 1-2 step, shot pocket, release. And again, you want your elbows to be straight, and you want that follow through to follow through straight. So we'll look at it from the forward point of view. So 1 and 2, jump, straight, follow through straight, and then we'll demonstrate it from the side as well. So you're going to be catching it, 1, 2, gear up, shot pocket, release. And that is all the steps of shooting a basketball properly. Thank you.